And welcome in, everybody. My name is Sage Page Omega, and I have a wonderful episode ready for you guys today. This is the show that just talks about and appreciates all things that impact and influence me, um, that I just completely cherish and appreciate and feel like deserves to have the light shown on, deserves to be mentioned, deserves to be admired, or whatever the case may be, and hopes share that with you guys so you guys can have those inspirations and whatever the case is as well. This is what the show is all about, to shine light on the things that don't normally get the light shown on, and to show the appreciation for things that truly deserve it, especially in a time frame where that's not happening as much. And I can't think of anybody better than my guest today. This individual is absolutely amazing. He is a multi-generational gamer of the yesteryears and present day. From the original consoles and handheld electronics to the modern inventions of gaming, as well as generational tabletop gaming of both card and board, from the days of dice and adventuring in epic D&D environments to now the whimsical adaptation of characters in his videos. He is a true legend amongst his peers and people of all ages for his knowledge, understandings, and visions, both as a player and appreciator of all games. He has made countless videos that many have come to appreciate and value on his previews and reviews of gaming, as well as the many bonds he has formed with creators and people throughout the years involving gaming. He is a creator on platforms such as TikTok and YouTube, and is constantly providing not only knowledge about games, but comedic moments of appreciation and generational humor much needed in today's time. Everyone, let's give a huge, huge welcome to my amazing guest and brother-in-law, Brian of Cloak and Meeple. There we go. Hello, how are you? Welcome in.
Thank you.
It is awesome having you here. Especially with today's episode and the theme, I'm like, I can't think of anybody better to have than you. So welcome in. I do appreciate this. We have some comments right off the rip here. What do we have going on? Oh, okay, it's just nothing. Okay, anyhow.
Just the bots talking to us.
Just the bots talking. Anyhow, so for starters, you have a massive knowledge when it comes to games, whether it be board games, Nintendo-based games, even some of the old school PS games, like just an incredible encyclopedia of knowledge. Is there I mean, obviously you love board games and you favor board games, but like, if you had to pick one, okay, is there a style of game or a type of game that you would choose over the other as like, you know what, if this is the only set I could play, I'm going to do these and so be it with the rest, or it's all or nothing?
I mean, board games are my love right now. So, I mean, that's what I would probably stick with, because you can play some solo games, you can play, board games with friends and everything. But yeah, if I had to only pick one style of game versus like video game, old school game, tabletop game, I'm picking tabletop right now.
Okay. Um, Now, today's theme is all about the origins of everything. Literally where it all started for us and just our journey throughout. What was the point for you that was like, you know what, I love playing games? And then what was the switching point for board games that made you want to venture out and continue in what you do now for board games?
Well, way back in the day, in the late 1900s, um, I grew up with Commodore 64.
Okay.
So old school gaming like that back in the day. Um, I have fond memories of playing the original Monkey Island.
Okay.
So The Secret of Monkey Island, I played the crap out of that game. I had all the little hint books that you had to use the secret, like red strip to read and everything. But I played, The Secret of Monkey Island, Maniac Mansion, Zack McCracken, all those LucasArts games. I played the Indiana Jones one. I played a lot of the Sierra games, so some of the King's Quest, Space Quest. Um, I was probably too young, but I played Leisure Suit Larry. If you
I
know, you
remember
know. I
that.
should not have
I
been playing
remember
those games
that.
when I was that young, but I absolutely loved playing those type of games. Um, but I did start to kind of get a little fondness for board games, but I grew up as an only child, so I didn't really get to play those board games that much.
Hmm.
I even actually remember playing Monopoly Junior by myself as multiple players. So,
I did that for a while too.
yeah, but I've always kind of like had a love for those little board games and everything. Um, and then I slowly transitioned into, you know, playing like the console games. Um, I got my Nintendo for Christmas. I remember getting my Game Boy. I remember the exact store that doesn't exist anymore because it's now a Lowe's where it used to be.
Hmm.
But I remember getting, the original bulky Game Boy and everything. Um, but transitioning to modern board games, that actually was fairly recently, I guess, if
Hmm.
you want to say. I always say what got me into modern board games is Batwoman.
Batwoman.
Yes, Batwoman got me into modern board games. Because we had discovered that there was going to be a new Batwoman comic book series coming. And she was going to be coming out as a lesbian, and it was just going to be this new series. We're like, okay, this sounds awesome. I want to get these comic books. And we really didn't collect comic books or anything at the time. So we were trying to figure out, well, where do we go buy comic books? So we found a comic book store near us and started collecting the Batwoman comics. In the store, they also had some board games. Not very many. They probably had like 10 or 12 just on a shelf. And they had a board game there. I'm like, ooh, this sounds interesting. I really liked the game Clue.
Okay.
If I was to pick like any old school game, Clue is my game. But they had a game that seemed like Clue that I was like, this is interesting. And that game was called Kill Dr. Lucky. I know you know it.
Mm.
Kill Dr. Lucky was one of the first modern board games I ever picked up and played, and absolutely loved it. So I always say the game is Clue in reverse. So you are stalking the old man through the house, trying to murder him without being seen by the other people that are also trying to murder him. And that pretty much unlocked like a whole new world of other games out there.
When you introduced that game to me, I absolutely loved it because like you said, in Clue, you're trying to piece together what happened, which is a fun
Mm-hmm.
concept. But with Kill Dr. Lucky, you need to make it happen, and you need to make it happen in the most amazing way possible without anybody knowing about it. Like it's so
Exactly.
amazing. Like I love the concept.
You are
And then when
creating that
they
mystery.
yeah, and then when they added the or when you showed the DLC to it essentially of Kill Dr. Lucky and his dog, I was dying. Like I love that. I love that entire concept and how they did that. So it was pretty cool. And for those of you guys who are watching and they're like, oh, this guy doesn't know, look behind him. Like, just out of curiosity, with the wall of games there, do you have a estimate of just that? How many?
Yes, I can tell you right now. Boop, boop. Where's my number here? Not counting expansions, 885.
Good gracious! I mean,
There's
and that's
291 expansions mixed in.
and the crazy thing is, majority of those, if not all, you've actually played, reviewed, like gone through. That's
Not necessarily
crazy.
reviewed,
But I
have
mean, you've
touched a vast majority of these.
That's
There are
insane.
some that are what the board game community like to call the shelf of shame. My shelf of shame have mixed into my shelf of play, but the shelf of shame is the games that you have not played yet. And my
Understandable.
shelf of shame is actually pretty sad right now.
So now in the charcuterie of games that you have, which for those of you who don't know, there is a video on his YouTube, which I will put the link for all of his stuff here. Feel free to take a look. This is his link tree with all of his information, which at the end of the video, in the YouTube description, I will have his links listed for you to take a look, delve in, and explore. But if you go to his YouTube, guys, he has a video on there of the game Charcuterie, which is a reason why I said that. Watch that video. I recommend watching them all, but especially if you're looking for a specific game that you're curious about, I'm sure he has it on there. But I recommend watching the video for Charcuterie. It was actually pretty funny.
It's a fun game. People are always like, "Oh, I don't know if I like I don't know if I like board games, or whatever." And I'm like, "Trust me, there's a board game for you.
Yes.
Tell me what you like, and there's going to be a board game out there. Like, there's a board game about making charcuterie boards as pretty as possible." And they're like, "No, how can that be fun?" Trust me, it's a blast.
Yeah, from eating your diced veggies to, the Nexus events that you have to, like, literally there's everything. Like, there was the one game I think you showed me. Was it Alchemy or was it? All I know is I did horrible at it, and we had to make like potions, and
Yes.
I'm horrible at that game, and it's
That
not my
kinda
cup of
broke
tea.
you a little bit.
Yeah, but then there's a plethora of others that I'm like obsessed with. I forget the name of it, but and I mentioned it a few times to you guys, but it's where you have to climb and ascend to the mountain. You're leveling up your character, and it's not Dark Tower,
I'm
but
looking
it's
over here because it should be generally over here. Sanctum,
yeah,
the one that's kind of like Diablo.
yeah,
It's
Diablo-esque,
Diablo-ish.
and you're
Yes.
I love that game. Absolutely love that game, and styles like that, and yeah. So anybody that's watching, go to his channel because there's a game for you there. There's a game for you, and what I like about it too, and what I like that you showcase is it takes someone like me who's primarily a console gamer, and you still bring the console, but just in borders. Like, it's really cool. I don't feel like I'm playing a board game most of the time. I feel like I'm sitting there playing on an actual console, just with the imagery being dice, cards, tokens, or whatever the case is. And it's really cool. I don't feel disconnected from what I'm accustomed to. And it's so smooth. I love it. I love how you do that.
And then one thing I always do is, ambiance is part of immersion, in my opinion. So I always try to find a playlist, either on Spotify or YouTube. There are some great YouTube channels that actually make specific playlists that go with specific board games. But I will try to play those just to kind of keep the immersion. And that also helps too.
One thing I recommend to anyone who's watching that Brian does incredibly well. So whenever we do have game nights, like prime example, what is it? Dead of Winter, the
Yes.
Walking Dead game, essentially.
Yep. Dead of
Um,
Winter.
the the music, the thematics of that, and then making the tea that you'll make, or like making certain things to give the sense, the feeling of, oh crap, we're in the zombie apocalypse. Oh crap, we're in this. Like, I love how you do elements like that for your game nights, and whether you're a new dungeon master, and you're still trying to piece together your stories or whatever the case is, I recommend getting a playlist for your sounds, or your music. I recommend doing stuff like that because even if what you have isn't a lot, it makes the adventure that much more enjoyable and more memorable because every time you've done stuff like that, whether it be for that game or others, it's like, I really like that. That's engraved in there. I remember those more, and I think it's phenomenal how you flow all of that together.
Thank you.
Out of all the games, and I know it's a lot, is there one game that is like I guess your prized one over them all, or your most like you'll never part with it, no matter whatever happens. This is your game.
I mean, I would never get rid of Kill Dr. Lucky because that's just
Right.
that is my ultimate favorite game. Um, but I mean, I literally am just looking around and seeing what I have here. Um, I'd even say some of my classic games that I was able to get. Like you can see, which way is it up here? I have like the original Megavirus up here,
Hmm.
and then just off I have the original Fireball Island. Um, I happened to fall into those. They were not like my childhood games.
Okay.
My friend Kurt had us over for a big board game day, and a little backstory. Kurt is a super smart guy, working for like universities, doing all kinds of like awesome research for like malaria and that kind of stuff. But Kurt is also like 7'2".
Oh
He's a
wow.
large man. He is huge. And we were playing games, and he was like, "Oh, Brian, remind me after this game. I want to take you down to the murder basement. Actually, down to the murder room." We're like, "Okay, Kurt, sure." So we follow him down to the basement, and the only reason he calls it the murder room is because in his basement there is like these steel girders, and it's a very low ceiling. For me, I'm 5'9". He's 7'2", so he calls it the murder room because if he's to turn the wrong way and smash into one of those, it's done for him.
Hello, Fresh. You
But
welcome
down
in.
there,
Sorry.
yeah, down there he had a bunch of old games from his childhood, and he was like, "I'm moving to Washington State. I'm not taking them with me. Whatever you don't take is going into a dumpster."
Oh
And I'm
wow.
like, "I'm going to rescue these games." So I
Right.
picked up we're like, "Hey, are you 100% sure? Because these are worth money." And he was like, "No, I know you guys will appreciate them and everything. So uh, please take these games." So I came home with like a stack of like vintage games that you can't find. Like Omega Virus, I actually got that working because it has one of those like old school squawk boxes.
Right.
Like if you think like a Mall Madness, that's one that had like a box that would yell at you. Omega
Okay.
Virus has like the same ish thing in it. And then I'm actually shocked that or I'm going to call it Forbidden Island, Fireball Island, has all the original marbles, the fireballs in it, because those
Oh
are the ones that
wow.
got lost as kids. It actually has extras in it, which that is weird too.
Yeah.
So
Real quick here. So we have a greeting friend from Stargate Sith, which, for
I
those who
know
don't
him.
know, Stargate Sith is my oldest brother, but he's also the other half of Cloak and Meeple. You see him featured in some of the videos. He's behind the scenes. He's the jack of all trades, but he is a, a phenomenal gamer. which while he's here, and I want to say this for both of you guys. So no one knows this other than Dazzlemaster, and I mentioned it to Stargate a few days ago. So this channel, Sage Page Omega, would not exist if not for Cloak and Meeple. Okay? Trevinical Omega would not exist if it wasn't for Stargate. So before I became Sage Page Omega, I was Trevinical Omega. And I became that from watching my brother, Stargate, play hours and hours and hours of Diablo. More importantly, Diablo 2. There's a town in Diablo that houses my favorite villain of all time, Mephisto, and it's the town of Trevinical. And I loved the name. I loved the name. So I became Trevinical Omega, the end all of all, because of that. And I grew because of that. But the Sage Page Omega is because of you and a game that you showed me literally back in 2014. And it's why I actually created the Facebook page I created at the time, and it was Talisman. Had you not have shown me Talisman, none of this would have happened. We wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be Sage Page. I wouldn't have started streaming. Dazzle wouldn't have started. Like, all of this is literally spawned because of that. I loved that game. I loved every aspect about that game. And we would come up with scenarios, that they now actually have. They have, like, Talisman Origins and Talisman whatever, where you can do side quests and journeys and go away from the base of the game. But because of that, I fell in love with the Sage character, and I fell in love with a few other characters, and then all of this transpired, or, came from that. So if it wasn't for that, this wouldn't exist. So I thank you, because, again, for those who don't know, like, I'm a console gamer that got introduced to board games, now, and if not for that board game, none of this would continue. So I credit my origins literally to that, because if not for that, we wouldn't be here. So I thank you for that tremendously, as well as Stargate for, all the hours and hours of playing Diablo or playing Shining in the Holy Ark, Shining Force 3, the literal gaming blueprints of who I am. Like, so thank you both for that tremendously. Speaking of, so we have a comment that says from Freshie, thank you guys for making Sage who he is.
You're welcome, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Stargate's put up with me for 40 years, and I think, Brian, you've put up with, what, half of that? Just about, like...
A little bit more than half, but yeah.
Yeah, like, it's... So they've been in it, guys. But no, I'm truly grateful. Speaking of origins, and this is, our journeys through that, there is a convention that you guys do every year. And it's, if I'm understanding it properly, you go in and you collab and you talk and you interview and you meet board game creators, other content creators, and it's called Origins.
Yes.
Which, let me go to, if you guys are curious about any of that, go to his YouTube channel. He's got videos up of his most recent Origins adventures, but you can scroll through his channel and you'll see the previous years as well. Believe me, you guys don't want to miss it, especially if there's games that you're looking for, curious about, creators that you guys know about. This is a good way to get that information, guys. So you don't want to miss that. I'm just saying. But tell us a little bit about that and your experience on it. Because normally you do this. Normally you're the interviewer, and so tell us your journey on that.
Yeah, so a little background on Origins is I discovered that there was this board game convention in Columbus, Ohio, which is just south of where we live. That's not too far away. And I was like, oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and go to this. This was shortly after I created the Cloak and Meeple channel, and we went down. I have all my badges up here above my desk.
Mm-hmm.
And so our first year was 2015. We went and we did I even post videos from that one? I don't even know. But you could. I don't actually. I have my channel up right here. I can tell you.
I
But
think you posted some stuff on your Instagram back then, but I don't think you.
I might have. I don't even know. That was so long ago. But 2015 was our first year that we went. We went with our friend Rio, and just as a first time experience to see what this was all about. And we absolutely fell in love with the convention. I got to meet people that I followed on YouTube or listened to on podcasts, and it was just such a neat experience to see everything going on there, and to kind of poke my head in as like a baby YouTuber and get to talk to people and see how them willing to like hand me a game for free, like, here, take this for your channel. I'm like, oh really, I get free stuff, you know but yeah, we've been going every year. The only year we didn't go was the year we don't talk about, 2020, because yeah, it didn't happen that year.
Yeah, those were the dark ages.
Yes. But yeah, we just got back. It's always in early-ish June. So I have 2 videos up for that so far. I think I have like 5 or 6 more interviews. This year I tried to do something different. I tried to vlog during it, and realized I'm bad at vlogging right now. I don't know how to vlog properly, because I would do like an intro for the day, and I would do an outro for the day, but most of the video was just like 20 seconds of footage of me just moving the camera around, showing stuff, and not actually talking. So I'm like, this is boring. I'm not going to post any of this. But it's helping me, like, I know what to do now next year.
Gotcha.
But Origins is absolutely a blast. It is, I believe, still the second largest in the country for board game conventions, and third largest in the world.
Oh wow.
Behind Gen Con, which is the biggest convention in the United States. It is absolutely huge. I will probably never go to Gen Con, because Origins, you can walk around and you can talk to people, and you can have a big backpack on, or if you have a stroller, you can push a stroller. Gen Con tends to be a herd of people. So it's like, oh, I guess I'm moving on from this booth. I'm being pushed along and everything. And it is like, I've seen videos of like Gen Con, like they basically open the gates and it looks like Black Friday. It is too much for me. Origins is much more chill, easy to walk around, and it's so much fun. The largest convention in the world is called Essen, and that's in Germany. And that one is one I actually do want to go to, because I've heard that they have nice wide aisles, so you're not going to be rushed into anything. But Gen Con and Essen are where most board games are released. That's when you get your first hands on them. There's some games that are released at Origins, but a lot of the publishers wait for the big 2. So they'll be previewing them at Origins, but they won't have any stock until those 2 big conventions. So, but sometimes as a reviewer, I might be able to get my hands on a copy at Origins, so that way I can post videos ahead of those other conventions.
Okay. And that was actually one thing I was going to ask you too, because I've always wanted to go to a convention, but I'm not going to lie, I am super nervous around a lot. Like, I'm slowly branching more and more outside of my comfort zone, but realistically, too many people and I shut down, and I'm like, I don't know. So the fact that you mentioned that, and the differences between the two is really good, because if there's, anyone else out there like myself, who want to get into this, you at least now know what to expect and what to what to kind of look out for if you don't like big crowds, or if you do. Here's your styles. Here's you know, which again I recommend watching his videos because you see, like, he doesn't hide anything. You see the true, natural, genuine flow of how things are there, and everything that you're witnessing. So, if it's something that you guys are interested in and ever want to do, I recommend watching because, yeah, it's I love it. I love watching and I love getting the knowledge of it that I wouldn't normally get. And most people I know don't do it the way you do, and I like how you do that. I like how you provide the information without necessarily providing it. So it's kind of cool.
And I will say more props to Origins and Gamma, who run Origins. They do take people's, anxiety in mind. So they have quiet rooms. They have quiet spaces designated. If you need a break from the crowds, they have specific areas for people to kind of like zone out for a second. And they have other things to do too, so you're not just in board game land. Like this year we were talking to one of the tea booths because they had, it's not just all board games, they also have like other vendors there. And there was a tea booth there, and the lady was so nice. We kept coming back to her and talking to him and everything. And she was like, well, I don't know if you guys be interested, but I have a movie that's premiering at the Origins film festival. And it was the next day. So we went in, and it was a nice quiet room. They played 5 little short movies that are like 5 minutes each. And we got to see her film, which was the last one, and it was the best one. It was really good. It's called Snow Day. It's supposed to be coming out on YouTube soon. Little plug for her.
Nice.
But it was absolutely adorable, and it was really cool. She said it was like 5 years old, but it was a really interesting thing to do that I've never done at Origins, is to chill in a dark room with 15 people and watch a couple movies.
See,
so
that's really
it was
cool.
a neat little break from the running around trying to get interviews and remembering where booths were.
Now, one thing I do want to say, so for those of you who well, I don't really like board games, I don't like video games, I'm more of a book reader, I want to take a moment and say, so there's a series of books that I've had the pleasure of reading. I've only read a couple because I'm not going to lie, they're detailed books, at least for me. It takes me a few times to read them so I can fully understand. But if you like a lot of imagery, if you like a lot of just imagining the scenario and really getting the full detail of things and feeling like you're in it, there's an author, passed away in 2020, his name's Terry Goodkind, which I was introduced to by you with the book. I recommend. He has the Naked Empire, Soul of Fire, and there's a bunch more. Again, they're highly detailed, but they are worth the read. Worth the read. So just throwing that out there because again, that's another thing that I didn't do much of before you. Like I read Lord of the Rings, but as far as actually reading books, I was like, I don't care. I don't have the time, the patience. But I'm glad I did. I'm glad I started reading some of those because they're phenomenal books. Like, he's a phenomenal author.
Yeah.
Was a phenomenal author. So.
You definitely want to start off with Wizard's First Rule. That was the very first book. That kind of like establishes the characters, establishes the world, and kind of lets you know how magic works in his world. Because I really love his take on how magic works. Because it's such a unique take on it. It's not like Harry Potter and everybody waves a magic wand.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Merlin's magic. It is it's such an interesting take on it. He does get a little political in his own kind of way.
Yeah.
But it is still a very fun. So I've actually never finished all of his books.
Yeah, I've finished 2. Do I remember most of them? No. There's a lot in them. But I will say during the read of them, they're really good. They're really good. And I get zoned in to where it's like, oh, I'm just going to read for an hour today. Next thing I know, a few hours later, oh, I I got stuff to do. Like,
One of the things I would laugh about with his books is as he went on, uh, the title of the book wasn't really explained until the next book. It's always something weird
yeah,
because like he has one of the in the series is called The Pillars of Creation. They never explain what the Pillars of Creation are until the following book.
yeah. So we
It's
have
like,
a
oh,
comment here from Free Ashy. It says, I haven't played board games. I haven't played a board game in ages. Which one should I start with? I grew up on like all the classics for 2000s. So is there a board game that you would recommend? Or let's say to cover the basis, three like styles of board games or three types of board games that might cover different styles that you would recommend from
okay.
that time
Well,
frame?
if you like the classic games, of course I'm going to plug my favorite one, which has already been heard like 1,000 times. You can get tired of hearing me say it. But if you like the game of Clue, you'll like Kill Dr. Lucky. That one might be harder to find. You might have to go on like the Etsy and everything right now, because it is published by a publisher called Cheap Ass Games, and they're now kind of reverting back to their cheap ass style. So they're only offering like the cards, and you have to print everything else.
Okay.
But I would suggest trying to find a box version of that. I have the 29th and a half year anniversary one because they did weird anniversaries. If you grew up and love Monopoly, we're going to go back to Sage's favorite game. And now I'm also forgetting the name of it. Remind me.
What, the Talisman or the?
Talisman,
Yeah.
yes. If you like Monopoly, Talisman is a great
Yes.
jumping into
I-
point for something like that.
I think like Talisman, it's Monopoly and Skyrim had a baby. Like it's literally a phenomenal breed. It because you're leveling up the characters, you have the ring around, and
Right.
it's
It's the same like
such a
roll and
beautiful game.
move. You're doing stuff when you land in the places, but it's something a little different.
Yeah.
And then if you like games like Uno, you can go to Target, you can go to Walmart, and you can pick up a game called Flip 7.
Mm-hmm.
Flip 7 is absolutely fantastic. In Flip 7, the object of the game is to flip 7 unique number cards. They're going to have a big, thick deck of cards, and in that deck of cards, there are going to be numbers 1 through 12. And there are 12 12s in the deck. There are 11 11s in the deck, all the way down to 2 2s and 1 1. So on your turn, it's basically hit me or I'm going to stay. And you got to keep going until you want to stop. If you ever flip the same number card that you already have out, you bust, you get no points.
Mm-hmm.
But if you manage to flip 7 unique numbers, you end the round for everybody, you get 15 bonus points. But you can stop whenever you want to, especially if you start getting like, if you have like 10, 11, 12, I always recommend staying because remember, there's 10 10s, 11 11s, and 12 12s in that deck. It is it's absolutely crazy. There are some like little modifier cards that are in there that'll do some things to like freeze an opponent or whatever. But that
Yeah.
is, if you like Uno, you'll like that style of game.
Which
Honestly, Target has some really, really good modern games, and they're getting like a modern game section. So Target's a really good place to look for some newer games.
yeah, and two, like let's say you can't get to Target or you're not able to get out, whatever the case is. A lot of these games that he's speaking of, like Talisman, I know for a fact there are digital versions of that game on Steam. You can also play it on. I know Android has it. I don't know about iPhone, but I know Android has it. Flip 7, you can play. What was it? Board game. What the digital version that we play sometimes on the phone.
Board Game Arena.
Board Game Arena has it. Most of the games that he's saying, there are digital versions of them. You just have to look on the respective platforms and try to find them. If you're not able to actually get out or you don't want to get the actual physical copies, there are digitals to these. And for the most part, they follow the physical copies identical. So you're not going to get like a different version of them should you choose to go digital. And what's cool about that is there's times where like I'm not always able to get over, just because of conflicting schedules or whatever. So we'll pull up the digital versions and we'll play. I'll play my turn on a Monday, and then Wednesday comes along, he'll play his turn, and we keep the games going, without necessarily having to break the stride of our day-to-day life. So there is that as well, if for those who are interested. Is Talisman a rare game to find for the board game version?
No, because they keep on coming
Yeah.
out with new, updated versions of it. So I think they're on. I don't
Yeah.
even know what the newest version of.
Which I will say, make sure you have space to play Talisman, because even the base
Yes.
game takes up a decent amount of your table space. And I want to say, last I checked, there was like 5 other expansions to it that are corner pieces, and they're huge. Like the entire game with all of its expansions is ridiculously huge. But
Yeah,
but
table
very
log
fun.
for sure. Yeah, it looks like they're on 5th edition, and you can buy it directly from their website. So,
Now, another game that I have fallen in love with, and it has sparked a lot for Dazzle and I. We have talked about showcasing it for episodes and things like that, and it's going to be another origin point to something that we do, is Sentinels of the Multiverse. Your introduction to that game, for us, like we have every DLC that they've ever created now. The game is phenomenal. And again, there's digital versions to that, Android, Steam, so forth. It is a card game. Essentially, think of Justice League or think of Marvel's, but comic book versions. And the health of the character is the comic book edition. Like, so if it's comic book number 23, that's their health. But it is a phenomenal game of heroes versus villains card game. So amazing. And the dialogue that's in it for the characters, that is my second favorite game that you've introduced me to. And when I tell you we play it religiously, there's days where we'll get together and we'll just play that all day. One session or a couple sessions turns into a 9-hour gameplay, and we're like, oh, there goes the day.
I would say that's one of those games you have to enjoy the chaos,
Yes.
because there can be one action will cause a waterfall of things to happen, because it's you versus the enemy, but you're also fighting the environment, because the environment could be fighting against you too, because you could be like near an active volcano in your environment, or there could be something else happening. So it is a lot of fun, but it can get a little crazy, because you're like, wait a minute, I have these modifiers, I have these modifiers. Okay, this triggers that, which now triggers this, but this happens before that. Oh, the environment's now doing this thing. So
Yeah, there's a lot to it, but it's so much fun. So a good way to describe the gameplay of it too, for those of you who played Yu-Gi-Oh card game, or for which I played that as well, but for our generation, Magic the Gathering, it has the play and reaction type style card effects, and it's so much fun. Also, while we're here, so I have to ask, because I know I asked before, but for those who don't know, what is a meeple? Just curious.
I actually don't have one right here. So a meeple is generally a figure in a game.
Okay.
It is a little. You probably need to pull up a picture of one on your side. Oh, hang on.
You
He's
have
just in. I have meeples. So this is a meeple.
okay.
So the name came. It's a portmanteau. So there is a game called, which one was it? Carcassonne.
Okay.
So Carcassonne is a little tile laying game where you're laying out little tiles, have like little roads, or they'll have like little abbeys on them and like farmland. But you're putting these little guys out to like claim the spaces. You claim the roads or to claim the farmlands and that kind of stuff. So there was a lady that was playing the game, and she mixed up the words "my people" and made it "meeple," and that became the word for these little figures, which looks like a little person.
Okay.
And there's now a little bit of controversy with that now, because the creator of Carcassonne has tried to trademark
Oh.
that.
Real quick, Freshie. Yes, there are
Sure.
two versions of Talisman on Steam. I have the first edition that came out. So the fifth edition is literally everything's the exact same as the first edition. It's just updated for more dynamic cards, and just looks more updated. Like I said, I have the first edition. I have all the DLC of the first edition that they came out with on there. But you're more than welcome to get the fifth edition of it, and it's the same. It's just in order to play with other people, they'll have to have either the first edition or fifth edition, depending on what you have.
And if you're looking for the board game version, always buy the newest version, because
Yes.
it will have cleaner rules, and all the errata that were on any of the cards possibly will be fixed from previous versions. So always try to get the newest version, unless very rarely do people want you to get older versions of board games, but sometimes they're like, the new version sucks.
Which it's kind of funny because there's an episode of Big Bang Theory where they're all sitting around, and occasionally they play D&D or they play other games, but there's a board game they're playing, and I'm like, oh wait, that's Talisman. I know that game. I geeked out, not even because of the episode, but I'm like, that's the game that Cloak and Meeple shut. Like, I know it. So I was all excited. Let's see. So if I get it on Steam, the classic will be fine. Yes, the classic will be fine. Yeah, you'll get the full aspect of the game. Well, you'll get the full aspect of the base game. The base game, I want to say, comes with 12 characters, 14 characters, something like that. Warrior, dwarf, wizard, sorceress. I don't remember them all, but yeah, standard board, like 12 to 14 characters, a plethora of cards, little cards, and everything. So yeah, you'll get that, and then everything else from there, you'll just need to get the DLC for the standard game. There should be like a group thing for it too, like buy it all through the bundle, and might save a little bit as well. But yeah. Going back to, so for those who are here, if you notice, he has a very cool shirt on, which I love the color scheme of the shirt, by the way. If anyone is interested in anything that you see involving Cloak and Meeple, and you're like, hey, where can I get that cool merch? Again, you're more than welcome to click on his link. But if you look at the screen here, after clicking on his link tree, which let me grab that actually. Let me grab this. And again, all the links that you guys see, I will put into the description later in YouTube and in Twitch, so you guys can actually click on them. But if you click on that later, like I said, go to his merch, guys. He has some phenomenal things here. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this hoodie is fire. I absolutely love it, and I want to get it, as well as the hats. Like, I don't know, but that I love the cloak. I love the cloak. Just saying.
I do want to plug the newest stuff, which is the Let's Forget About This Crazy World for a moment and play a board game.
Or is
Those
that?
are it should be in the merch
Okay.
section.
Oh, right
Yeah,
here.
right there at the top. So I have it in a hoodie. I have it in a shirt. I think there's a tote bag with that in there too.
It's
I
shown on the
wanted
screen for you.
something. Yeah, I wanted something because it's a little crazy out there. It's a little scary out there sometimes, and just something to be a little. Let's just turn off the world for a second, and it's kind of easy to throw yourself into a board game. The world's still out there. You're not completely abandoned from it, but it is just a little reminder. You can temporarily, even just play a video game. You can play something, cozy, even like Animal Crossing or something. But you don't have to be fully immersed into this crazy world.
Exactly. Well, and that's well, and the whole point of this is because I want to showcase that with everything going on in the world, with all the hate, the negativity, the wars, just everything going on. We need to get back to the human part of humanity, and everyone that comes here, I want that. I want it to be the showcasing factor of that. Getting back to a time frame, which there's nothing wrong with digital. As a digital gamer, I stand by my consoles and I love my consoles. And there's still that social aspect to it, but every once in a while, get away from the digital and actually communicate. Whether it be over a book, whether it be over board games, over card games, whatever the case is, just get to a simpler time of just peace and just communicating and appreciation and remembering that, hey, you don't have to be chaotic. Let's just share a laugh, share whatever over something simple as a board game. You know, and that's why, with like today with the origin concept, the journey of it all, going from where we started to where we are, I couldn't think of anyone better because I'm like, that's what you are. You are the simplistic version and the most real version of, hey, this is what it is to be a human. And I absolutely had to showcase that. And I thank you for that. And to anyone who's watching, again, follow this wonderful individual on all of his stuff because you will not be disappointed. YouTube channel, he has his shorts on TikToks. Make sure you watch them. And like all of his links, you will not want to miss out, guys. I promise you, because absolutely amazing. From where you started, though, to where you are now, and just everything that you've traversed in between, if there is something that you could say to your starting out self, or to anyone who might be wanting to take on this journey, what's the one thing that you would say? And then to your future self, looking back on where you are now, what's something that you want to tell yourself now, like, hey, don't forget, kind of, as you progress to the future?
Honestly, for when I was starting off, you kind of referenced it in the very, very beginning of this. I would do like a crazy, like little skit before every little video. They were an absolute blast. They were a lot of fun. Most of them were 100% improv, which is funny to me because I don't consider myself somebody that's good at improv or anything. But it's easy when it's just you and a camera. But I would kind of stress myself out over those and be like, oh, okay, what can I make that'll go good with this game, whatever. And I pulled back from that a lot, and I'm actually enjoying it even more, just making the content. And specifically what I would tell my YouTube baby self would be, make content that you want to watch. I was making like how to plays and that kind of stuff. I'm like, you know what? I'm not the type of person to teach you how to play a game in a YouTube video, because, I would stress myself out if I got a rule wrong or something like that. Just make what you want to watch, which is what I'm doing now. I try to keep my content a certain length because when I'm trying to find a video about a board game, I look at how long the video is. And if I just was like, you know what, this game sounded interesting, I look at a video, I'm like, that's 45 minutes. I don't want to watch that. That's too long. But if I can find, my little sweet spot, that's what I'm going to watch. So make the content that you want to watch is for myself, and honestly for anybody else that's making content. For my future self is, keep investing into better equipment, because now I have like this camera with these mics, which is fantastic. I was using an old like Kodak point and shoot camera thing in like my very first video and those very first videos. But again, it wasn't like we weren't at the 4K lifestyle yet.
Right.
I think we were barely at 1080p. But getting that better equipment as I could afford it is something I definitely will continue to do. I'm very happy with my camera right now, so I'm sticking with that. But investing where you can.
Agreed.
To make stuff better, to get eventually better. I have like wish lists of I want a better lights. I have a room in the house that I want to make into a studio.
Okay.
To actually have like a legit like place to record our games and actually play games rather than just playing in my cramped dining room. So
I get that.
Invest where you can.
What's interesting about what you said, and I respect tremendously, is because, looking back at the journey and just appreciating the beginnings of it and traveling through the time and just making the content you want to make. It's funny you said that because the first video that you have, which I'm going to showcase this here. If you guys go to his YouTube, the first video that you will see is how to make a dice tray. And 20,000 plus views, but to go from that simple video, which, again, for those of you guys who roll dice and, oh my god, I'm tired of them scattering everywhere, you got that one person that you invite over and they seem to throw the dice everywhere but the table. This is a good way to stop them from doing that. But to go from that, which who would have thought, to now all of this is a huge testament and a huge if anything motivation to you guys to never stop. Like, never give up on your dream and never give up on what your vision for yourself is, because look what came of it. Like I said, this channel was created because of it. Another person's thing was created because of it. So much has transpired from the introduction of a board game that started from the dice tray video. That, like, the trickle down effect of all this positivity and all these good things from one thing that was like, let's just see what happens. So go with it, guys. Like, it's well worth it. It's well worth it. So
It makes me laugh though that stupid little dice tray video is still my most popular video
But
on all of my channel.
But it's a good video though, and it's simple. It's a quick do-it-yourself
Yes.
and very informative. Like, it's so simple, but man, is it worth it though?
Yeah, I'm just like looking at like my top videos, and the funny thing is, my top videos are not even like my top games. Like, I did a preview of Dutch East Indies, which is from a European designer who made this silly little pirate game where you're just selling goods to like different lands and moving stuff around. And then a little like 12 card game called Smoke and Mirrors. I think just people are trying to look up magic tricks or something, and that's why they're getting on my video. But still, it's giving me views. Thanks.
So we have a question here from Friashi that says, how do you know your path? So I'll give mine and then I'll let Brian give his answer. So for me, I've learned my path is the one where my voice is never silenced. If you're trying to do something, whether it's making a video, doing a live, whatever it is, and you feel like you're not being appreciated, heard, or even taken seriously, that's not the path you want. Anything that makes you dim down or dumb down how you feel about yourself and who you are is not the path. If what you're doing brings you joy, and if what you're doing never get silenced, continue that path. At least that's how I feel. What are your thoughts on that?
I completely agree. It's your path is what makes you happy. As long as you're not, harming anybody else or anything like that, do what makes you happy. So if sitting around a dining room table and pushing a bunch of cardboard around makes you happy, you know, do that. If you've decided that, crocheting little fun animals or mittens or socks makes you happy, do that. If music makes you happy, and you're interested in creating that type of stuff, do that. And remember, everything doesn't have to be about creation. It can be just be about experiencing, like books or video games. It's just about enjoying the ride. And that's what I feel like should be your path, is just do what you love.
Stargate says, welcome to the gaming community. Freshie, you're always welcome to game at my table. Heck yeah. And the cool thing about that too is, because we've said it before, but is there's a board game for every situation, every person. And believe it or not, there's board games for even the way you feel. There's been times where I'm like, I just want to zone and zen and be at peace. And you pulled out the Shiro game, and it fit perfectly for, it's not overcomplicated, it's not chaotic, it's just a simple tile, move, but it was so peaceful. Like, there's a board game out there, or there's a card game out there, deck builder, whatever, that fits you. And if you're curious, watch the channel. Go to his channel, and if you want to look up a game, type it up, fine, and then go to his channel and see if he's done a review on it or a playthrough of it, because I'm telling you, you're going to enjoy it, and I'm more than likely he has, or he can show you a source of where to go to for the proper information of it. But yeah, But Brian, I thank you so much for joining and for being a part. Like, it really means a lot to me that you came through and shared your knowledge with us and just
Thank you.
been here, man. I really appreciate it. And to everyone that came in, Stargate, Freshie, I know there's a few comments I did miss. I do apologize, everybody. I'm still trying to work through it all. I thank you all for being here and interacting and partaking in this. Again, all of his information. What up, Nug? Good to hear you, buddy. Good to see you, buddy. All of his information will be in the description on YouTube once the video is posted. It'll stay up on Twitch for 14 days. And then for those who are in the Discord, you'll have permanent access to the video in Discord as well. And then I'll be posting clips on TikTok as I'm able to figure that out. So you will have access to all of this, guys, once this is all done here. But I'll make sure all of his links are posted for you guys, so you guys can check it out, his merch, and all the rest of his content. But Brian, thank you so much, man, and it was definitely great to have you. And everybody,
Thank you.